Good morning, Ugly Mug marketing followers and friends. Welcome to another edition of Ugly Mug Marketing Coffee Chats, the live show where we drink coffee. Mostly I drink coffee.
I have some.
Yes, Mallory has some today too. The live show where we drink coffee and chat about marketing, business, and leadership and everything in between. My name is Hannah Balliet, and I am the Director of Communications and Teaching here at Ugly Mug. And today I am joined by our website department manager, Mallori Miles. I'm so excited. Mallory has so much good stuff to share with us today. Welcome to the show today, Mallory.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Excited to have you. I feel like it's been a while, or have you been on coffee chats yet? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
So for those who have never met you before, and since you haven't been on the show before, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been at Ugly Mug, where you're from, and what you like to do for fun.
Yeah, definitely. So I am born and raised in Alexandria. I live about 30 minutes down the road, but definitely from the area. I've been with Ugly Mug for almost 3 years. My work anniversary is in March, so it's right around the corner. So time definitely flies by. I can't believe it's already almost been 3 full years here. And then what do I like to do for fun? I feel like I always struggle to answer that question. I don't know why, because I'm not super into like any one hobby or anything. I would say like I love like scrolling on Pinterest and like I like projects. So like I like to look for different ideas, mesh them all together, and then do whatever that is. I always joke that like I'm the visionary, and then Trey, my husband, he's like my contractor. Like I contract him out to do the work, you know. So
Like,
I love to bring ideas to life.
Thinking about this, and he's probably like, great.
For sure, 100%. But I love like having a vision and watching that come to life, whatever that looks like.
Yes, I love that so much.
Which kind of ties into my job too. So
yeah, totally ties into your job, and like taking this vision or this idea that the client has and then actually making that a reality or helping them storm up. Because I'd imagine that sometimes people come to us for a website. This is slightly off topic, but sometimes they don't like necessarily always have a vision right away, do they?
Oh yeah. No, definitely not.
Would you say that's like the majority of the time?
Oh yeah, for sure. Most people don't like have a vision at all, I would say.
Yeah. Like maybe they're like, oh, well, I like this website. And it's kind of like, well, what do you like about that website? Like you gotta have to pry a little bit, I'm sure.
And most people don't even know that for sure. So definitely I feel like people just feel like they need a new website. They don't really even know why sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, that really ties in actually a little bit, like this idea of bringing this vision to life and communicating your brand or your company's story or whatever onto a website so that other people can find it and know who you are before they ever step foot into your brick and mortar store or into your business or make a purchase with you. That is all a part of your online presence. And that is what I've asked Mallory to come here and chat with us about today, because online presence is crucial for any company in any industry. We as consumers, people all over the world have access to phones, and they can quickly look something up and do a little research before they actually buy. And so much of what determines whether they want to shop with you or they want to buy from you or experience your product or service has to do with what they see when they simply do a Google search. And so I really want Mallory to first share a story that she shared yesterday in our weekly email, because this story is so relatable, whether you're getting married right now or you're not getting married. I think that this can be relatable and applicable in so many different facets of life. So Mallory, tell us the story about wedding dress shopping and everything that you shared in your email yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. So it was actually the same year that I started working here. So 2021. So I'm trying to think, how old was I? I think I was 23 because it was later in the year. But so I was getting married June of 2022. So I started dress shopping in summer of 2021. I had gone out of town because there's just not a lot of options local to here. And so I'd gone out of town multiple times to like these higher end dress places. I tried on tons of dresses and just didn't love anything that I was seeing. And so we were going to go back out of town one weekend, and there's actually a hurricane about to hit that
Of
weekend. And
course.
so, yeah, Louisiana for you. And so
Yeah.
my cousin was like, well, why don't we just go down the road to this dress boutique? And so I'm like, let me look them up really quick because I don't know much about them. So first I look for a website and I can't find one. So I'm like, okay, let's go to social media because usually everybody's active on social media, right? So I go
Yep.
to their Facebook page and I just was not impressed with what I was seeing. And again, I'm 23 at the time. The first thing I do is pull out my phone to look for this place. And
Absolutely.
they do post on their Facebook. So there was some consistency there, but the type of content and the photos were just terrible. Like you could tell that the photos they were putting on their Facebook page were straight out of like their wholesaler or whatever it's called photos.
Mm.
Yeah. Like that, or it was photos in their shop, but it was like on mannequins that didn't even have heads. Like you just could not
Yeah,
even get a
you weren't
feel
getting like
for.
the full experience of like what would this dress look like on me, or there's another
Yes.
person that looks like me. Like it just wasn't relatable content, it sounds like.
Exactly. Like I have been looking on Pinterest and it just was not giving the same aesthetic as my Pinterest board was, you know? So
Yeah.
I just told my cousin, I was like, I don't know if they're my style. Like, I'm not seeing anything that I love. Like, it just doesn't look like my vibe at all. And she kept begging me. She was like, we can make a day out of it, go eat lunch and just stop by. What will it hurt? And so I'm like, whatever, I'll go. So I walk in and first the service was unmatched. Like the ladies working there were
Mm.
so friendly, so eager to help me. But also like not overly salesy at the same time. So I picked
Yeah.
out a few dresses and I go try on a handful of dresses. And there was like 3 that I absolutely love. And then finally I tried on like one more and everybody started crying. It was like that wedding dress moment where everybody knew that was just the one that I was going to buy. Um, and so I ended up buying my wedding dress from there and like had a last minute alteration the day before my wedding. They were more than willing to help me. Like I'm telling you, the customer service was so good. The experience was so good. And I never would have thought that just because of what their social medias looked like and their lack of a website.
Yeah.
And since then, I've told so many people about them. And I know for a fact at least 2 people have bought a dress there because of my referral. So, yeah, that's kind of the
So that's
story.
the story. That's the
Yeah,
story of judging a book by its cover, but then being wrong, y'all.
exactly.
I feel like it's kind of the theme of today. But we live in a world right now that is so digital and so clearly communicating that you can have this amazing experience and that we do have really well trained salespeople in it, in our boutique that are ready to help you and have tons of experience in helping brides find their dream dress. And here are some examples of the ways that they can help you. I mean, all of that could have been communicated on
Hmm.
their social media, whether that was Facebook, Instagram, on TikTok. It could have also been communicated beautifully on a website as well, but it just wasn't. And
Mm-mm.
honestly, thank goodness your cousin convinced you to actually go in there because it sounds like you had such an amazing experience. But what hurts my heart for their company is that they have not taken the time, or maybe they have now, but at the time
Hmm.
they weren't really paying attention to that online presence. And so who knows how many brides missed out on an amazing experience or had to travel all the way to Timbuktu to go and find a remarkable experience when they could have had something closer to home. And I really think that we've touched on, I really think that obviously makes a huge difference in your business having that really great online presence, but we've touched on social media, we've touched on website. What are some of the other, or key components of our online presence for a wedding dress boutique, but in all industries? What are the different components of that?
Yeah, definitely. So you definitely said the biggest 2, social media and website, I would say are the biggest. So you're looking
Yeah.
at Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, depending on the industry, of course, which socials you'll use, even TikTok. A lot of people are successful even on Snapchat. So, again, depending
Mm,
on the industry, some other things would be your email marketing. That's definitely an aspect of your online or digital presence, as well as like a Google My Business listing, anything like that. So, anywhere that you can be seen online is part of your online
you're
presence.
Yeah. I love that you bring up your Google listing as well, because being able to see reviews is so crucial. And because I'm assuming they likely didn't have a Google business listing, or maybe it hadn't been updated,
Yeah.
it's so funny. We're willing to trust the opinions of complete strangers when we're going out to eat or when we're buying a product on Amazon. What's the first thing we're doing? We're looking at
Scroll
reviews.
the review.
We're scrolling and seeing what other people had to say, if they said the food was good or bad, the service good or bad, the product arrived on time or late, all of those different
Another really good example of
opinions.
that, yes, is Airbnb, because I've been on that a lot lately trying to plan for the summer vacation. If it doesn't have a review, I'm not booking it. Not happening.
Oh, absolutely not. It's looking suspicious. It's giving
Exactly.
fake listing and you're going to steal my money.
Yes, exactly.
So that's just like another great example of online presence. And if you have an Airbnb, make sure you're asking your
Mhm.
current customers or past customers to leave a review, because that's going to help someone make a decision on whether they want to stay at your Airbnb, experience your property or your business, your service, whatever. And gosh, okay, that's such a good point for Airbnb in particular. But all of
Yes.
these different things, yes, make up your online presence. And Mallory also brought up a really great point. It depends on your industry. It depends on who you're trying to talk to, get in front of. That's going to determine what makes up your online presence. If we are doing B2B sales, for example, and we're selling software or anything like that, being on Facebook might not be as important as being on LinkedIn, or being on LinkedIn might not be as important as being on TikTok. I mean, we have to really truly understand and know who we're trying to speak to so that we can
Mhm.
ensure that we're showing up in the right places. In Mallory's example, I also think that being on Pinterest could be a
Oh,
total
definitely.
benefit to a bridal boutique or anyone who's in the wedding industry, because brides are consistently going to Pinterest, looking at pictures of styled shoots, trying to find pictures of real brides in the dress that's at that boutique, not just the model images like Mallory was saying or random mannequins. We want to see real images. And so showing up there could be a part of your online presence. And so if you're not currently online, and having that online presence, first start with determining who your target audience is, who those different avatars might be, so that you can show up in the right places. Because the reality is, we don't have to be in all places and be all things to
No.
all people, right? We want to strategically show up in the right places so we can be wise with how we're using our resources, which might be our time, but could also be our money as well. We don't want to waste money on TikTok if our people aren't on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
all great points there. So, we've talked about where your online presence is. Online could be on social media, could be on that Google listing, could be on your website. But what are some tips for enhancing our overall online presence, whether we're showing up in all those places or just a few of them? What are some tips that you have there?
Yeah, definitely. One we've already talked about, me and you both, is utilizing high quality photos. I
Mm,
will say that that will make or break your website specifically, but also your social media
mm,
and really anywhere online. So if you can invest in a photographer for the wedding dress example, let's say that that boutique did not have the extra money for photos. Getting photos
yeah.
from customers is a really smart way to get good photos um, without
Mhm.
having to pay for a photographer if you're not able to do that. So even if, let's say, their Instagram had photos from weddings, most people are hiring a
Yeah.
photographer that is skilled at taking photos for their wedding, so they could utilize that if they wanted to. but even say any other industry as well, collecting customer photos is a really good way to have good quality photos. And that kind of ties into my next point, which is social proof. We've already touched on that a little bit
Yep.
too, but social proof is things like reviews, customer photos, people looking happy using your product or service, anything like
Yeah.
that. Because like Hannah said, people are going to trust other people's reviews of your product or service a whole lot more than they're going to trust you. So
Yep.
the two I've touched on so far, photos, social proof, and then either posting consistently or updating your website consistently. So you definitely want to have a consistency in your feed and in your content. As far as a website goes, if I go to a website and they have a blog and I see it hasn't been updated since 2014, I'm going to wonder how reputable this blog is, you know?
Yeah.
Same for Facebook. If a company hasn't posted in 8 months, are they even still open? So all of those things are pretty easy ways to add a layer of trust and credibility to your online presence.
Yeah, I love those points. So high quality imagery, social proof, and then showing up consistently in those places or wherever your online presence is, whether that's the Google My Business listing, your website, your social media, all great ways to keep people updated and to show people that you are a reputable company. That's
Yeah,
what you said.
definitely. And I
Um,
wanted all of our points today to really not require much like any designer coding knowledge, just like easy,
yeah.
quick things that you can implement today that would make a big difference.
Yeah. And I love how points 1 and 2 connect because I think the most successful content on social media is often the user generated content. So
For sure.
when someone takes a photo from another person's wedding, obviously with that person's permission and photographer's permission
Yeah.
as well, but to be able to share that, it's like, hey, here's a real bride. So had the boutique, I don't know if they did. They should. They should. You should send them your wedding pictures
For sure.
if you didn't already. But I think it's really cool when businesses like that go the extra mile and say, "Hey, we congratulations on your wedding. We saw your pictures. Wondering if we would be able to share those on our Instagram pages." And you know, because what happens in that instance is now other people who are friends with you or who came to your wedding, if they tag you in that, that's going to then show up in their feed, or you're probably going to reshare that onto your story or onto your personal Facebook page. And it's going to bring more eyes and more attention to that post, probably than any other post that they just willy-nilly post on their page, right? Like
Yeah.
that's where the social proof comes into play. And then other people like your friends or other family members who are then getting married, it's like, oh, I didn't know Mallory got her dress there. Or, oh, that's the place that she was talking about. Oh, that's maybe
Mhm.
where I want to go now to go and get my dress. Or it could even be another bride who's getting married at the same venue as you saying, oh my gosh, so cool. She got married there. Her dress is beautiful. Maybe I'll go check out there. It just
Yeah.
kind of creates this like ongoing ripple effect when we take and like repurpose those photos. And again, so cost effective for the boutique, or I mean, this can be applied in so many other instances. And I think of the example of Chubby's swimsuits. They do an
Mhm.
amazing job of taking content created by their actual customers and then just using that for their posts. Like when you go to the Chubby's Instagram account, you'll see some of the professionally photographed content shoots, and especially when there's like a new line coming out, but everything else is usually like some sort of funny gif or images that they just like took from people who tagged them in their posts.
Yeah,
And
Brewmate is another good example of that. Last time I looked, at least, it's been a
ooh,
while, but they had like last time I looked, a really aesthetically pleasing feed, and it looked like most of it was user generated content. So
yeah,
hardly no work
so
was put into that by them besides just posting it.
totally, totally. And you feel so special, right? When a brand like shares your picture. At least I do. Like if
100%.
I
Oh,
if I
yeah.
like post something and I like tag them in my story or like a local restaurant even, and then they like turn around and share that on their stories, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm
Yeah,
famous, I'm an influencer. Like it just makes you feel special. And that then you have like this, it builds like more brand loyalty, like to that company or to that brand, right?
absolutely. And I would also say just incentivizing customers to give you things like photos or reviews is the best way to go. So we use the Airbnb example. Offer them 5% off their next stay if they leave you a review or
Mm,
some sort of incentive to leave a review or give you their photos. Maybe there's a contest every month where everybody who tagged your business in a photo gets a chance to win a gift card to your business or something along those lines. I think it's a good incentive.
yeah. And I think that's such a great idea because some people might be watching this and thinking, well, we don't have any user generated content. Nobody ever tags us or shares that with us. That's a great idea and way for you to start getting that user generated content if you aren't currently getting it. So I absolutely love that idea. All right. So we've talked about those 3 tips for enhancing our online presence that are affordable, that are actionable. You can start doing those things today. But I want
Yes.
to specifically dive into the website side of things because you are the website manager and have so
Yeah.
much experience in bringing all of these website ideas to life or helping people dream and scheme if they have no vision themselves when they come to us. But I want to dive more into what are some specific ways that we can enhance our websites. I know that we've talked about imagery and that's key, but what are some other things that we can do to make sure that our website stays up to date and makes people actually want to come and shop with us?
Yeah, definitely. So number one is just as simple as knowing the goal of your website. As simple as that is, I think that we said like earlier, a lot of people don't have a vision when they come to us. They just want more sales. But what
Yeah.
is the goal of your website? So some products or services are going to take a lot longer to sell than others. So we
Mm,
need to be clear on whether we want people to call us, if we want people to buy a specific product, if we want them to fill out a form. We should know what, or like a user should know what a visitor wants them to do within 6 seconds of coming to the website. I think I said that all backwards. So sorry.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
within 6 seconds, a visitor should know the goal of your website.
Yeah. Like what
That's
action
the
I'm
easy
on
way
the
of saying that.
website. What do they want me to do? Like, am I supposed to fill out a
Exactly.
contact form? Am I supposed to buy now? Am I supposed to add to cart? Am I supposed to call them? Yes. That is so important because how often do you go to a website too and you're like, okay, am I in the right place? Like,
Yeah.
what
Or
am
even
I?
for like an e-commerce website, obviously your goal is to sell, but let's be more specific. So, are you trying to sell Mardi Gras apparel or are you trying to sell Christmas? Like those are two totally different
Mm,
things. So we need to be clear on what exactly we want to drive traffic to at that point in time.
yeah. All right. So we need to have good pictures. We need to have a goal for our actual website. What are some other, if someone's like, okay, I don't currently have a website and I don't even know where to start with important things to include or what people need to see when they come to my website. I know it varies by industry, but what are some just general across the board things that are key components of a successful website?
Yeah, I would say a lot of that are the things that we've already talked to. But most of all, it's appealing to your target audience when it comes to those things. Because what's visually pleasing to my eye is probably totally different than a 60-year-old man whose interests are like golf and cooking and grilling and all of that. So
Yeah.
definitely thinking about your target audience because even if let's say you're a 30-year-old and you're working on the website, try not to think about what you like, but try to think about what the people coming to your website will like.
Yeah.
So
And
whether
I
that's through
think
the
there's like
photos
a,
or the social proof.
yeah.
Go
And I
ahead.
think there's a lot that can be discovered too by just doing your research on other companies that might be selling similar products or maybe selling the same exact products. Like, how are they attracting new people? What features do they have on their website that you really like? Or if you know that they're having a lot of success too, there's probably something going on on their
For
website that
sure.
is
Just like you.
that's exactly what the
Mhm.
consumer is looking for.
Yeah, I was going to say, just like you talk about using Facebook ads library to kind of spy on your competitors,
Mm,
see what seems to be
yeah.
working, you can do the exact same thing with a website. Most big brands who are really popular, they have a really good team who knows what they're doing, and they're doing things very intentionally. So kind of pulling ideas from multiple different places and then thinking about, like I said, does this actually appeal to my target audience?
Yeah. And it really kind of seems like everything that we've talked about today, you can't do or put into place or take action on without having that deep understanding of who the target audience is. Because if I don't know who the target audience is, I'm not going to know what types of content to share or when to share it or how frequently to share it. I'm not going to be able to um, even know what those places I should be hanging out on or where I should be spending my time, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, working on my website. If I don't deeply understand that person, and I'm not going to know how to design a website or what key components to have on the website or what the images should look like or what color scheme to use or anything like that without deeply understanding who my customer is. So I would almost say, to strip this all down, what we've covered today, the very first step that you need to take is to deeply, deeply understand who your target audience is. And if that is something that you feel like you don't have a full grasp on, it's okay. We have a really great tool, our customer avatar worksheet, that will help you identify who even just one avatar for your company is. I always love
Mhm.
to use this example. When I was 16 years old, I got my first job at Old Navy. Fun fact.
This
And
shirt's
when
for
we
Old
were doing
Navy.
oh, I love that. I
Shout out
almost
to
bought
Old
that in hot
Navy.
pink. Yes. Okay. And also I love that color. I've been telling everybody lime green is going to be my color this year. So I
Yes,
love
me
that.
too. It's part of my coffee
I'm going
cup
to copy
too.
you. I'm copying you. But anyway, so I worked at Old Navy and I remember going through training and they were like, hey, here's the type of customer that comes into Old Navy. And they called them Jenny, Mike, and the kids. And they were like, Jenny is anywhere from 29 to 45 years old. She has typically anywhere from 2 to 3 kids. And they were going through all these details of who Jenny is. They had developed this avatar because they knew exactly the type of person that shopped at Old Navy and what she looked like. But they weren't blind to the fact that, okay, Jenny is probably married or is in some sort of relationship. And so, well, we might need Mike. So Mike is the guy, the average guy that's coming in to Old Navy and shopping. Mike is between this age, and this is the type of job Mike typically has. And then we got into the kids. How old are the kids? Why are the kids coming in? Well, they're probably coming in with Mike or they're probably coming in with Jenny. And they gave us
Yeah.
this full picture of this family, essentially, who is coming in and shopping at Old Navy. And it's funny now looking back at that experience and going through that training is they were describing these customer avatars. And I loved that they gave them names. And so if your business does not have those avatars identified, I'd first recommend going through this exercise. I would second recommend thinking about, all right, there probably isn't just one avatar. There could be many. There could be Jenny and Mike, or there could be Jenny, Mike, and the kids. And then utilizing that information to then create content that's gonna speak to Jenny or gonna speak to Mike or gonna speak to the kids too. I think that's all just so valuable. And I mean, is a lesson I learned when I was 15 years old and didn't even realize it until now.
Yeah,
But
and
once you
one
have,
thing oh, sorry. I was just going to say one thing website related, whether you're Jenny, Mike, or the kids who have tablets or phones, something that's incredibly important is the speed of your website and the ease of use.
mm,
So people do not want to take time to dig for content or to dig for what they're
yes,
looking for. So make it abundantly
yes.
clear on your website what you want people to do. Make sure your website's fast. Google has a tool. I'll drop the link in the comments, but it's Google Page Speed Insights. All you have to do is drop your website
Mm.
URL into there, and it will tell you. It will rate your score. It'll either be red, yellow, or green, depending on the speed. So a commonality
I
across
love
any
that.
target audience is that we're all a lot more lazy than we probably once were.
Yeah, right, right. Like nothing's everything. No website's ever fast enough, I feel like.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like, this isn't loading quick enough. Or like my brain is like working so much faster than the website's loading. And I just get like frustrated. So yes, like having quickly loaded website, making it abundantly clear what you want someone to do when they get to the website. Okay.
Yeah. And just make it easy for them to
There's been
take
a lot.
action.
Yes.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. Like nothing drives me more crazy than when I click on an ad, even on Facebook, and then it's taking forever for the website to load, but then it's just bringing me to like the homepage of the website, and then I can't find the product that like I saw in the ad. Like
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
just like,
Yes.
that drives me nuts. Like I want
Me
to
too.
just go to the product from the ad, or I like feel like I should be able, like even if I land on the homepage, I should just be able to like easily and quickly find exactly what I'm looking for. Um,
100%.
so yes, I feel that deeply. And probably because I like recently experienced that. I was like, "Oh, I want that sweater." And then
Couldn't find a
I
sweater.
couldn't find it. Couldn't find the sweater. So I was like, "Well, lost customer there." No. All right, y'all. We have covered so much today. We are coming up on the end of our time. Just a quick little recap of everything that we talked about today. We have talked about the importance of having an online presence. Step one is deeply knowing who your customer is so that you can show up in the right places. Some examples of components of your online presence might be your website, your Facebook page, your Instagram, your TikTok account, your LinkedIn, social media as a whole, but it can also be your Google My Business listing or your review section. Make sure that you are getting reviews. People buy
Mhm.
from other people. They don't buy from us as a brand or a business. And we know that to be the truth. Some tips for enhancing our overall online presence. Mallori shared with us having high quality imagery, providing social proof, and then also consistently posting or updating your website or posting on socials or ensuring that your Google My Business listing has new photos. And these are all things that are low cost and can be done very easily. Mallori even shared with us that in order to get those high quality images, you don't have to all of a sudden hire a professional photographer and conduct some sort of sales shoot. You can simply incentivize your current customers to post images and tag you that can then be utilized on your website or your social media channels or your Google My Business listing. And then we also talked about ways to improve or enhance our websites and some key components there, making sure that we first and foremost understand the goal of our website. We want to make sure that we understand what the purpose of the website is so that we can then tell and clearly communicate to our customer exactly what we want them to do. We want you to buy our Mardi Gras gear. We want you to fill out this contact form. We want you to call us now to schedule an appointment. And then, of course, ensuring that our website is quick and easy to use is going to be another way to have great success when it comes to converting people, viewers, traveling to your website, converting them into actual paying customers. Mallori, this was awesome. I had so much fun chatting with you. And I know there have been some great takeaways for all of our friends that are tuning in live or watching the replay. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited that I was able to join.
Yeah. Y'all, next week, I'm going to be talking with our SEO and operations manager. She helps ensure everything happens smoothly behind the scenes, but we're mostly going to be focusing on SEO. Mara is going to be joining us next week. We're going to be talking all about PPC advertising, which is pay per click advertising. Really, really honing in on what is PPC advertising? What are the types of companies that thrive with PPC? She's going to be giving us some examples of really successful campaigns for various industries and give us some quick tips for ways that we can improve the current campaigns that we may already be running as pay-per-click ads on Google and other channels. So I'm really excited to talk with Mara. That'll be happening next week, Wednesday, at the exact same time, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, and I hope you're able to join us then. Until then, catch you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye, y'all.